Good afternoon, Don Pelayo here. This is Sunday, March 23rd. Can't believe we're almost through the first quarter of the year already. I'm so glad that spring has rolled around. The weather outside, it's nice and warm and sunny, and it's just perfect. I get winter. I'm just not a big fan of winter. So this afternoon, I came home. I went and visited my parents this morning and spent some time with them. And then I came home and I noticed a large animal, well, a ground animal, um, fairly large. And I thought at first it might have been a groundhog, but I got back here to my backyard and it was a beaver. I had a beaver in my backyard. I think that's the first time I've ever seen one like in the wild like that. But he had the flat tail and everything, and I was just like, huh. There's not even I don't know, there may be a creek around here somewhere, but my backyard there's no water or anything. I thought they usually stayed around creeks and in watery areas, but he was just back there in the woods, so um, you know, interesting. He may have been looking for food or something. I don't know. Um, I wanted to talk a little bit about today about some of how important it is to make goals for ourselves. I think a lot of people go through life and just are just kind of aimlessly wandering through life a little bit. How important it is to have goals for yourself. I've really gotten big on different goals here, especially in the last couple years. I mean, I've always had goals, but did I really was I really tracking and was I really paying a lot of attention to them? Not so much. A lot of the goals I had for myself earlier in life, they kind of direct themselves, like getting through college and starting to work, and you try to do your best as you can at work, but I probably could have done a better job when I was younger about really planning my career. Um, you just kind of go to work and earn money. I think probably my relationships issues probably were a distraction from a lot of that too. But I take the L on that. It's like, I mean, I don't have a bad job. I mean, I make decent money, but I probably could have done more if I had been more focused on it. Um, anyway, so I'm looking at some of my goals I have right now. I am trying. I've talked about it on these videos before. I had gastric bypass surgery back in October of 20 of last year, and I'm trying to hit a goal weight. My goal is to get down to 200 pounds. I started this process at 315 pounds. I am now 234 pounds. So I am 34 pounds away from my goal weight. I have lost 11 inches around my waist. My waist hasn't been this small in probably, gosh, probably about 25 years, maybe. So, so maybe a little bit more than that. I know when I came home from Spain, I came home from Spain in August of 1997, and I had a 37-inch waist at that point. Right now, my waist is about a 42-inch waist. If you take a tape measure and actually measure, it's about 42 inches. So I would like to get my waist below 40. That's one of my goals. I need to do more ab work. I'm bad about that. I'll sit here and lift dumbbells and things, but I don't do a lot of core work on doing crunches and all that stuff. I just don't do it. So so probably need to do some of that. Um anyway. So general improving my fitness is one of my goals. I have that ideal weight, the 200-pound number, and getting my waist below 40 inches. Those are two of my goals in terms of fitness right now. My body fat percentage right now, I'm like right at 30%. I would like to get that down below 20%. Um, we'll take that one day at a time. I feel like at my age, I'll be 49 in August. So I think if I can get below 25% body fat, I'll feel like I'm doing pretty good. I'd like to get it closer to that 20 number, but we'll see where we get, right? Um, I want to be, I want to work on being a better parent, being a lot more communicate a lot more with my kids. I've one of the greatest joys that I've had in my life is raising, seeing my kids grow up. I have two daughters. My oldest will be 21 in September. My youngest will be 14 in December. And as many men know, when you go through divorce, you don't get to spend as much time with your kids as you would if you hadn't gone through a divorce. And that's been one of the toughest things about the divorce experience. Um, I'm at peace with my relationship situation. I think one of the things that I've thought about that a lot, and I think I've just came to realize that I was never really that important to any of the women that I knew in my life. I really wasn't. Even the ones I was married to, I don't think that I was really ever that important to them. I don't think I really meant much to any of these women. I think women have a desire to be married. They want to get married, but I don't know if they really fall in love with a specific person. It's just they just want to get married, and so they may have certain things they look for in a spouse, but they're not like, I really want to marry this specific person. I don't know if women get like that. I really, I'm at least I haven't, I don't think I've seen it personally, or experienced it personally. I don't think in my entire life I've ever had a woman that was really genuinely in love with me. I think there's been women that did marry me. And I think there were other women that probably would have married me, but I don't think they were ever really in love with me. So I don't know. As a guy, I always hoped to find someone that genuinely loved me and really wanted to be with me, and me specifically, not just some guy that and I grew up in the Mormon church, and it was like they wanted to marry a return missionary, and it's like, but it was like any return missionary would do for them, and it was like they didn't want me in specific. And I think that was always a problem for me. I think I always wanted to find that. I wanted to find someone that genuinely wanted to be with me specifically. I never felt like any of them did, really. um and I'm at peace with that now. 20 years ago or 25 years ago, that those feelings kind of hurt. Or gosh, how long has it been? How old am I? I'm 48. So yeah, it's almost 30, going on 30 years. I can't believe it's been that long. It doesn't feel like it's been that long. um, Sometimes it boggles my mind a little bit how much time has gone by. Um, but I never have found that. I never found a woman that was genuinely in love with me. And if they're not, if that's not part of it for me, it's like, what's the point? I don't even feel like there's a point to getting married if that's not part of it. It just kind of feels hollow to me. Um, so honestly, I would rather just be single. I'd rather be single if I'm not going to find some person that really genuinely loves me and wants to be with me, and me specifically. I never found that, so it is what it is. I've moved on. So at, you get to 48, it's kind of like, who cares at this point? I've got other things to worry about. It's like I've got other things that I want to do with my life. Women are kind of, honestly, on my list of items of importance. Relationships at this point, and romantic relationships, it's way down my list at this point. Um, but I was, thinking about being, watching my kids grow up, and I used to love taking my oldest daughter when she was little. We would take I would take her. They have a little science museum here in my city, and I would take her to the science museum, and they have a planetarium there. We watch the star shows, do little things like that. And I loved that period of watching her, her curiosity and watching her with the animals. We went to the zoo a couple, going to the zoo and different things. Love that. I love that period. Um, my youngest daughter, I remember when she was a baby, and it usually fell on me to get her to go to sleep. I was usually the one rocking her to sleep. I still remember. Mostly my her mom, she worked 12-hour shifts as a nurse in the hospital. She worked 3 days a week. So, um, you know, I can't remember very well if I may have done it those nights where she had to get up the next morning and go to work. I may have been the one rocking the baby to sleep. Ashley and Piper, both my daughters, they were so different that way. Ashley, my oldest, we would lay her down at 7 in the evening, and she would sleep solid until like 7 the next morning. It was crazy. She would sleep solid. Piper was just the opposite. We had a very difficult time getting her to settle down and go to bed, and I would remember I would get her to sleep, and I would carry her in there to her crib and lay her down, and those little eyelids would just pop open, and it was time to start all over again. And it was tough. It was tough getting her to sleep, but I still remember sitting there in the recliner rocking her at 1 o'clock in the morning trying to get her to sleep. But I miss those days. Well, not that part of it so much, but she got more fun as she got into her. It's kind of funny as she got into her twos. You think about the terrible twos, but that was actually when things began to get fun with her. I get to play with her, and she gets more. You get to playing more, and it's like you get to interact with them and play with toys and things with them, and I love that period of their lives. But um, anyway, I just want to make sure that sometimes we get so busy during the week and with work and everything that I may not be talking to my kids as much as I need to, and I should be touching in with making touching base with them every day. Um, Piper, I almost do talk to just about every day. We usually she Piper right now is nothing much has changed with her. She'll text me at like 11 o'clock at night, and sometimes she FaceTimes me at that time of night, and I'm like, Piper, I'm kind of an early to bed type person because I get up early, and sometimes I have missed her a couple times when she calls, and I feel bad about it, and I'll message her the next day and say, Piper, I'm so sorry I missed you. I was sleeping, but uh, you know, if she could text me at like 7 p.m., that'd be great. She's kind of a night owl though. Um, anyway, that's one of my goals is just to make sure I'm communicating with my kids daily, every day. Um, I'm also working on some of my financial goals. I've told some of you I have a full time job. I make decent money with my full time job, but I'm also door dashing in the evenings, and I'm mainly using that money to pay extra on debt and also saving. So my DoorDash money pretty much 100% goes to paying down debt and building up savings. Um, got a little bit of a headache this afternoon. Um, so I'm working on some of those goals, and I have financial goals I'm working towards. I've got it's not just paying down debt. I'm building not only my cash savings, but I'm also building my retirement accounts. I do want to. I have a current existing life insurance policy on myself. I want to. It was a term policy that I took out in 2012. It was a 20-year term, so it'll terminate in 2032. So I want to get a new policy to replace this one, probably doubling the death benefit on it. Um, I have a goal. One of my financial goals is to leave both of my daughters $1 million when I die. I'm going to try to achieve that. We'll see if it happens. Part of that will be from life insurance. Um, anyway, we'll see how it goes with that. um, Other goals that I have working on myself. Once I've kind of paid off some of my debts, something intending to do later on is do more road trips. Either maybe some long weekend trips. Maybe I could you know, take a long weekend and like fly to Vegas one weekend and fly out maybe take a long weekend, fly out Thursday night and come back on Sunday, and just go and have fun. If not Vegas, maybe go down to Florida, maybe go down to Texas. Just get out, enjoy life a little bit more. I've been working so hard on paying off debt and getting my financial situation. My financial situation, going through when you go through two divorces, it really, you know, you kind of are, what is the word I'm looking for? It's almost like a woman that smokes when she's pregnant and her babies are stunted, their growth is stunted. It's almost like that. Going through a divorce, it stunts you. That's the word I was looking for. Um, and there's a big reason why there's so many guys now that don't want to get married, and I understand it. I understand men that do not want to get married anymore because of the risks, and they're substantial. The risks are substantial getting married. Getting married is about one of the most risky things that you could do. um, I personally, I always growing up wanted to have a wife and kids living under the same roof, and that was my goal growing up. It didn't work out that way. Um, I think there's a lot of reasons for that, but I don't know if I could recommend men get married. I think it's a very personal thing. Um, if you've really found someone that you really love and that really loves you, and it's not, okay, well, he asked and he's a nice guy. you know that that's pretty much the feeling that I had from from women. It's like I don't think any of these women ever genuinely loved me. It's like that was the feeling that I got from women. Well, he's a nice guy and he asked, so yeah, I guess I'll marry him. It's like, gee, thanks. Anyway, um, anyway, so men, just be very careful. Just be very careful when it comes to that. I think everyone should have kids. I know there's a lot of people that don't want to have kids, and that, again, that's a very personal decision. But I do not regret having children. My marriages didn't work out, but I don't regret having kids. I have paid, a good bit in child support. If you take the total sum that I'll have paid in child support and I had invested that money instead, it would make a decent chunk for retirement. I mean, a good retirement fund. But you know, but I do not regret having children. I just think that's big. That one of the biggest parts of life is having your own children and watching them grow up. Um, and then you don't want to grow old by yourself and not have anyone there, at the end. I think having kids, I mean, I'm not gonna, I already know I'm not gonna have a spouse there for me at the end, but I'll have my two daughters. They'll be there, and that's enough for me. I'm good with that. So, um, other goals that I'm working on, getting my estate documents taken care of. I'm probably gonna wait until I get my other life insurance policy in place. But then I definitely want to get a will drawn up. I need to get some other documents drawn up as well. I'd like to get a trust set up for my kids. I've got to figure out how I'm going to split everything between my two daughters. I want it to be pretty much even. My oldest daughter is already getting a house from her grandmother when is leaving her house to my oldest daughter. Um, Pretty nice home on a large lot. Probably will need some maintenance done to it, but it's a big leg up in life to have a paid for home. Um, so I'm thinking about leaving my house to my youngest daughter when I go, um, to kind of even that out a little bit. Um, but I want to try to leave them each about $1 million in assets. That's what I'm envisioning. But we'll see how that goes. I need to get all my state documents taken care of. I'd like to get my final planning done. My parents, they already have their plots for when they pass away, where they'll be buried and everything. I'd like to get all that done too. I'd like to be close to them. I'm not going to be aware of it, but I'd like my grave to be in the same cemetery where they're going to be laid to rest, and yeah. So I know my youngest brother will be buried there too when he passes. I think they got his plot there as well. My youngest brother's autistic, so my parents went ahead and took care of that for him. And I won't have a wife beside me, but it'll just be me there. But I'll be near my parents and my youngest brother. My middle brother, I'm not sure what his plans are that way, but I don't know. It's kind of a weird thing to think about, but it's important. It's something I don't want to leave my kids a burden, to burden them with those decisions. I want to try to have as much of that taken care of as I can before I go. Anyway, those are some of the goals I'm working on. I just think everybody needs to have something they're working towards. I do have some career goals too. I'm thinking about what I need to do to kind of ramp up my income a little bit more. I'd like to be able to get to an income level with my primary job where maybe I won't have to DoorDash quite as much to do some of these other things. So that's part of my plan. So we'll get there. Anyway, everyone have a good Sunday afternoon. I'm getting a little bit hungry. I think I need to eat a little something. But this is Don Pelayo signing out. Have a great weekend and a good start to your week.